I'm Lance Yelvington with Cyber Country. Anybody who has heard Ray Price's music can only describe it as beautiful and unforgettable. In this Cyber Country Minute, we talk to Janie Price about Ray's final project, Beauty Is.
Oh, I can't tell you how many countless of people have come up to me over the years, and just recently since we've lost Ray, and told me what he meant to them. And Ray has just literally touched the lives of thousands and thousands of people. And he's helped more people that I actually wasn't even aware that he had helped. I mean, just people he had met out at concerts and doing his radio shows and being on television shows. Anyone who approached Ray and asked him for anything, he never said no to anybody. And it was his favorite thing to do, to help someone and give them a helping hand up. And I've just had numerous people tell me the stories that he has done for them. It's just remarkable.
Any fan stories that stick out in your memory about Ray doing things with fans or for fans?
Well, anything that anyone asked him to do, he did it. You know, Ray was one of those artists that when his show was over, he went and sat down at an autograph table, and he sat there, and he autographed until every single solitary person in line had their autograph signed. And that's one of the most rewarding things that I have felt, is these fans have come to me and they've brought these memorabilia, and they've brought all of these wonderful artifacts and things that Ray autographed for them, pictures of them with Ray, all kinds of ticket stubs, concert posters, everything you can imagine, and told me all these stories about them and Ray. And Ray is the person that anyone who he ever met and actually had a one-on-one conversation with, that person never forgot Ray Price. They walked away from him carrying something of him with them. And he has never left them. Ray has a fan base that's so far-reaching and so wide that it has literally astounded me. I knew he was a big star, and I know all the wonderful things he did. I know what his legacy is. I know all the bios. I know all the hit records. But the man that I know, the man that I love, is the man that I'm trying to share, the man behind the music, with all of the people. And they've shared their things with me, and I'm trying so hard to give back to them. And that's what I wanted to do, is to fulfill Ray's desire that this album be presented to all of his fans and give everyone a chance to know about the album. You know, Ray was not on a large label, and he did not have a big production company around him. Until now, we finally got someone behind him and on this project who are working their buns off. And the fans are finding out about it, and look what's happening. Here you are talking with me.
Yeah.
And here I am in Nashville doing all of these interviews and all of these TV shows and all of these radio shows that Ray Price himself would be doing were he here. And I'm just astounded. I got to tell you, it just warms my heart to know how much my husband was loved.
Now, any fanfare stories? Because I remember you were talking about the time he took with fans. One of the things I remember about him, that he was one of the first artists to sit there and go and wait as long as it took to get everybody through the line on fanfare. And that was back in the old fanfare days down at the
That's exactly right.
fairgrounds.
Well, that was Ray Price.
Yeah.
That was Ray Price. And can I tell you why?
Sure.
Ray told me when he was a young boy, he lived in Dallas, and he would work as an usher at the local theaters. And he said that he was a big fan of all the big country western stars, the movie stars. And he would show people to their seats, but he said back in those days that when a star would preview their new movie, they would actually come and perform on stage and have their guitar and talk to the audience. So one of the people who did that was Tex Ritter. And Ray was just a young boy, and Tex Ritter came, he showed one of his movies, and Ray was a big fan of his, and he said he would just set up a stool and with a little autograph table, and he said all the kids from the whole community would be there waiting, and he said Tex Ritter would sit there and he would sign every autograph for every one of those kids. And he said he was so shy. He said, I wanted to go up to him, but he said I was so shy and I was afraid to go up to him. He said, I don't know why, but I wanted to go up to him. And he said, everyone had gotten their autograph signed but me. And he said, Tex Ritter saw me hanging back and standing over there against the wall. And he said, he stood up off that stool and said, son, do you want an autograph? And he said, yes, sir, I do. And he said, I've waited here especially for you, and I'm not going to leave until you let me give it to you.
How cool is that?
And he said that never left him. He never forgot that. Tex Ritter and he became great friends when it was over, as the years went by. And I'm just now opening up Ray's exhibit in the Tex Ritter Country Music Hall of Fame Museum in Carthage, Texas on February the 28th. Is that amazing that these two people they're going to be put together? But in the beginning of his life, that is how Ray Price patterned himself. And he said, I never forgot that. And he said, that is how I have done every show I've ever done, every public appearance I've ever done. He said, I want to make sure that there's not anyone who ever really wanted to have access to me that I did not accommodate them.
An icon passes on a standard to another icon. That is really cool.
And that is what happened. That's where Ray got that.
Now, with the songs that he came up with, I mean, everything that he sang was so original. Was there any story that sticks out special in your head about any of the songs that he sang?
Well, each song, there are so many that Ray recorded. It's just so hard to zero in on one. But what I can tell you is that each song Ray chose, that song had to reach a certain criteria for him, because Ray Price would not record a song unless he felt like that song could itself be a hit record. He never cut a song just to fill an album or just to make sure that to get enough songs in there. He never cut a song because of a particular writer. And he would never make a deal with anyone on publishing. Ray Price never did that. He never asked for a penny of publishing rights or to be a co-writer on a song. That song had to stand alone on its own. And that's how he built his repertoire. And he never, ever turned down a good song. I don't care who wrote it. And Ray rarely ever changed a song. I was asked by one of the interviewers, did Ray ever change the words? Did he ever change the title? Rarely. There may be occasion when he would maybe put a word in or change a word, but that song had to be a certain type of song, and it had to meet Ray Price's approval before he would record it. And there are so many families, so many writers, and all their families who have come to me and told me over the years how Ray Price has supported them. All the people who are behind the scenes of these fans just know the album that an artist is releasing. But behind the scenes, you have got all of those songwriters who start this project. You've got all of the publishing companies. You've got the record label people, and you've got secretaries and promotion people. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people behind the scenes of one album. One album. There are 12 songs on an album. That's 12 writers who are married and have families usually. And sometimes there's multi-writers on those. Sometimes there's 3 and 4 people cooperating on those one song. So sometimes you can have 30 to 40 writers on an album. And just think, over the years, every time one of those records sells, those writers get a royalty from that. And when those writers pass away and are deceased, their family, their children get that money. And so I feel like Ray Price has contributed to an industry that has sustained so many people. And Ray was so proud of that.
Now, what can you tell me about the work that went into naming this project and putting it together? Because, like you said, there's hundreds of people that helped the industry go and helped his career go. What went into putting this together?
Oh, the same efforts and the same time that Ray Price ever spent on every song, every album he ever did. Ray never did anything quickly. He took his time. He and Fred Foster got together on this album. Ray called him and asked him if he would be willing to be a part of it. Fred, of course, said, I would love to be a part of your final project, Ray. We knew this was going to be his last album. Fred got Bergen White on board, the arranger, and Bergen White brought all of these wonderful musicians. He started getting the musicians together before they ever chose the songs, because Ray told him, he said, I want a big sound on this. I want to hear everything that I have ever created in the sound in a studio in my life. I want all of that to show up on this last album. And so Fred started reaching out to all the publishing companies here in Nashville, to all the writers that he knew. Ray got on the phone and called some of the writers he knew, and everyone started sending material, and that FedEx and UPS truck started showing up at my house, and there would be boxes and boxes of song material. I promise you, hundreds of songs were submitted to Ray.
So there was no problem getting people behind the project.
No problem at all. Well, everyone wants to be a part of Ray Price. You know, the one thing I've learned, Ray Price's name really is magic. You just say his name and doors just open. I mean, it's just amazing. You know, he was just my husband, and I loved him. I had no idea the people in the industry admire him and love him so much. And so this project came together very quickly because he would listen to those songs, he would choose one, he and Fred would make a decision on it, and Fred would call the publishing company and say, we got it. Then you'd have this hero, you'd hear this cheering on the other end of the phone. All these people were so excited that he was going to include their song in it. To just think that you're going to have a song in Ray Price's last album, that's pretty exciting to a lot of people.
I'm telling you.
And then the project they chose the songs, and then Fred and Bergen got together, and Bergen wrote all the arrangements for them, just the way Ray wanted them. And then they got all the musicians together, and when they were all said and done, and everything was completed, and Fred called Ray, and he said, okay, Ray, we're getting ready to go in for the final mix. Now tell me how you want it balanced. What do you want to hear? And Ray said, I want to hear everything I paid for. So that's what Fred Foster did. And when Ray got that final mix, it was absolutely beautiful. And when you sit down and listen to this album, you're going to hear one of the biggest sounds you have ever heard on some of the biggest songs. But yet, you're going to hear those country songs, and because Ray wanted to leave his country fans, the ones who just love the country music, he wanted to leave them something. And so he did not leave anyone out. He said he wanted this album to be a culmination of all the different eras of time that he moved through in changing his musical style. And I think he succeeded in doing that because he has brand new material, new songs, and then he has old classicals. Beautiful Dreamer is in here, my goodness. The Stephen Foster song, my goodness, does anyone not know Beautiful Dreamer? Why did Ray Price choose that? An Affair to Remember, the 1962 movie with Deborah Carr and Cary Grant. Vic Damone had the big hit on it. Why did Ray Price choose that? Well, he chose that one because I've been hyping that one for years, but it fit into his concept finally because then he chose just the simple, the country songs in there, you know. The song Willie wrote, It Always Will Be. What a beautiful, beautiful song. I think that's one of the most beautiful songs Willie Nelson's ever written in his life. And so the combination, though, of those styles is what Ray said he wanted to leave his fans with in the final cut that he did. And I think he did everything I think he achieved everything that he set out to do. My only regret is that he's not sitting here talking to you today instead of me. He wanted so desperately to be here to talk to his fans and to talk to people like you and to just promote this album. And he was so excited and he was so thrilled to just think that after all these years that he could have a record out. Because this was Ray Price's life. I mean, he was a huge part of this industry. Ray Price was the iconic Ray Price in the 50s and the 60s. Ray Price drew 15 to 20,000 people alone on his own. And as time went by, and as he lost his big contract with the record companies, he never had anyone behind him anymore to do the promotion and to do the big Ray Price sounds. And so Ray had to do that on his own. And when we were married in 1970, Ray and I we had For the Good Times in 1971, and we know how successful that one was. But it was in the late 70s that he lost his big contract with Columbia Records. And after that, Ray had to go from smaller label to smaller label, and that was how he kept his career going. Well, fans they start beginning to think, well, Ray Price what happened to him? He just quit recording. He never stopped recording. He just didn't have a big record label behind him with a big distribution, with a big budget to put this record out. And you've got to let the fans know about it, or they can't find it. They've got to know where it's at, or they're not going to be able to buy it. And so look what he's done with this last project. And he's done all of this beyond the grave. I have no doubt that this man has been directing this entire project. And he has got it in Hastings, he has got it in Walmart, he's got it in the Cracker Barrel, he has got it online, and you can order it from Amazon, you can download it on iTunes. You can even come see RayPriceFacebook.com. You can even come see us there. We can get it for you there if you can't find it in any of these other places. But I think he would just be so thrilled to know that his fans are finally being able to hear that he has one, and now have the opportunity to go find it.
The good thing about the internet is nowadays the fans aren't running out. I mean, he's getting more fans too because he's got fans worldwide, from what I've seen, which is cool, and growing fan base.
That's what's happening. I've just completed. I've done several of the internet radio shows, and they're coming back telling me, "My God, we've got people in Australia, in France, in Germany, and in Japan, and all over the world that are hearing him on these shows, on the online radio shows and talk shows, and they're wanting to find out about Ray Price." Well, guess what? They got a lot to learn, don't they? I'm so excited. It's like he's a new artist to all these people. That would thrill Ray. Hello, I'm Janie Price, and you are tuned in to Cyber Country. I'm here today to talk with you about my sweetheart husband, Ray Price, and his last project that he did for you and for me, and it is entitled Beauty Is, the Final Sessions. I hope that you will be able to find the time to go out and look for this wonderful album that Ray Price did just for you and for me. Go to raypricebeautyis.com. You can also find the album in stores at Hastings, Cracker Barrel, and Walmart. You can buy it at Amazon.com, and you can also download it at iTunes. And I would invite you all to stop by the Ray Price Facebook page and visit me and let me know what you think about this wonderful project that my husband so desperately wanted you to hear about.